the final tonight. And the best team in baseball wins it all in 2018.
For the first hit. Rutschman into right field. Down the line. A fair ball. Adley will turn first. Head for second. He's going to turn second. Go for third. Rutschman into third base standing. An extra base hit. His first hit in the major leagues. Welcome to the...
Those are long pitch innings. I think Blister, that's what you want to make sure.
Here's a high fly ball into right. Back his bat's on the move. On the track. He's got it. What a catch by Mookie Betts.
Now, Clifford looking for a clean inning here in the seventh. Hit well out to right center field. Jones still on the move, running out of room, and he made it! Ballpark. As always, I'm your host, Patrick Marine, alongside Brendan Cunningham. Today, we are bringing you the National League side, part 2 of our uniform, or retro uniforms, I should say. This is the continuation of part 1. If you haven't checked or listened to that, go listen to that before this. Probably better context, but you kind of can listen to them out of order at the same time. But yeah, we wrote down our favorite retro or throwback jerseys for every team, and not a ranking, just what we like the best. And then obviously we also have MLB awards for the National League. Not as good on the NL side compared to the AL, but that's okay. Still some, kind of exciting players, I would say. So yeah. But first, Brendan, how are you doing? We're back in school, so school season.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I don't know if it's good to be back in school, but we're back.
Yep.
So that's that.
Yeah.
But how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, and it's football season. There's something good.
Yeah. That's good.
So, Holy Cross didn't win, like you said. Unfortunately, for you.
Couldn't get it done. Close game though.
It's okay. We get them next week. Maryland shellacked UConn, so shout out to Terps. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So we'll do the awards first, just like we did last time. I'll start off with my MVP list. I kind of had a hybrid in the last spot, but my top 2 pretty confident in. Do we go bottom up or top down?
I think we'll bottom up.
Okay. So in my 3, I had 2 guys that I considered. It's kind of weird. I wanted to put Ketel Marte there, but Ketel Marte has missed some time, and that does not help his case. So in case I didn't quite know what to do with a guy who's missed time on the injured list, so I put Harper. And if Ketel Marte is not, if the injured list hurts his chances, no pun intended. So yeah, that was kind of my 3-spot hybrid.
Do I go or are you gonna go?
Oh no, you can go.
All right. For my number 3, I had Chris Sale.
Oh, in the MVP?
Yeah. No, I didn't
Whoa.
feel like there were a lot of good options for number 3.
Wow.
I think Chris Sale's been killing it. So I said, why not? Let's put him at 3.
That's a bold take. Yeah, good take. I never thought about it that way. That would be pretty remarkable on Sales end.
I think he's pretty weak, and I just think he deserves it.
That's a fair argument. Number 2, I went with Francisco Lindor. I think Lindor is really underrated, and he's got that pristine glove at shortstop. He's one of the best defenders in the league, and he's got a really good bat quietly. I know that he's in a big market, and it can get really loud and all that stuff. But Lindor's just a really good player. You have to kind of face the facts. He's just believe he's going like 20-20 or like 30-30, maybe. I'll look that up while you're talking about your candidate. But yeah, I think Lindor's a pretty rock solid number 2.
You said the 1 and 2 is pretty rock solid, but we do have different ones. We have different players here. I put Marcell Ozuna at number 2. I think offensively he's just been killing the ball. I mean, he's
That's fair.
average, his home runs, his RBIs. He's just all around. I know he doesn't play defense, but when you hit like he's hitting, I just you should be mentioned.
Yeah, that's fair. I thought about Ozuna. So upon further review, Lindor is 25-25. He might be 30-30. Because he has 29 home runs, 25 stolen bases. I'm pretty confident that he'll be in the 30-30 club by year's end. And then the number 1, I think the number 1's pretty obvious. I think, I would hope that we have the same one. Shohei Ohtani. I mean, Shohei Ohtani's probably going to go 50-50, which is pretty insane. He's just freaking nature. He might win it as a DH, which is just a testament to how good his bat is. And he's going to be pitching next year, which is just even more mind-boggling. So Shohei Ohtani's like probably the greatest talent we've ever seen in this game. And while sadly he's not pitching because he didn't get Tommy John, I believe, last year, it'll be exciting to see him back on the mound in 2025. And he's just had an incredible year at the plate, on pace for a 50-50 season.
Yeah, I did go with Shohei Ohtani here. Kind of crazy this guy is still winning MVP, his third one, without even pitching.
Yeah.
Third MVP. I mean, it puts him up there with a lot of guys, a lot of all-time greats. I mean, we got to start having some serious conversations about where he ranks all time.
Yeah.
If he wins this award.
That's a fair conversation to have. So for Cy Young, how about you get started with your number 3?
Number 3, I went with Michael King.
Ooh, okay.
I think it's kind of a sleeper, but I think he's been playing good. But yeah,
that's a bold pick. Well, that's just a gut pick for you.
I looked at the numbers. He was always up there, and I feel like it was the right one.
Wow. Okay, so I went with his teammate Dylan Cease. I know that Dylan Cease is just in a little bit of a rough patch right now, but I think we've seen a lot out of Dylan Cease this year. He's been great since joining the Padres. Sure, it helped him get out of Chicago because that's just, I mean, a horrible situation on the South Side. But Dylan Cease, he got his 200th strikeout of the season the other day, which is pretty cool. And I think he's just got that electric stuff, and he's just really good. He can be overpowering on the mound. So I went with Dylan Cease as my number 3.
Then my number 2, I went with Zach Wheeler. He's been the number 1 for this very good Philly team. He's doing everything right, and I think he's a very solid number 2.
Same guy. I had Zach Wheeler number 2. I mean, he's an absolute horse. He is the clear-cut ace of the Phillies. I mean, he's just so good, and he's just kind of a bulldog on the mound every time he goes out there, pitching deep into a ball game, racking up Ks. He's got everything you want in your ace. So he's big for this Phillies team, and for the reasons you said as well. He's feels like he should be the runner-up.
And number 1, you should know already because I already said his name. I went to Chris Sale. Kind of a bummer that he comes out of Boston and just gonna probably win the Cy Young. But I'm happy for him. He wasn't feeling it in Boston. That's okay. And now he's winning Cy Young probably.
Yeah, I mean he's been incredible, and same guy, Chris Sale. I mean he's been utterly disgusting since joining the Atlanta Braves. I mean he's been incredible. He's kind of kept them afloat. They've suffered so many injuries, and the fact that Chris Sale has been able to just be healthy for as long as he has, and it's really good to see him overcome all the injuries, because he had suffered so many in Boston, and kind of what got him out of Boston at the end of the day. So, Chris Sale has just been everything the Braves needed in that rotation and then some. It's going to be fun to see him paired up with Strider next year if Chris Sale is able to kind of maintain it. Now we move to Rookie of the Year.
You want to start us off?
Sure. So my number 3, I kind of had another hybrid, Jackson Chourio, Joey Ortiz. And I think more so like Jackson Chourio is going to win it. I just wanted to give Joey Ortiz a shout because I miss him on the Orioles. We gave him away for Corbin Burns. It has been worth it, I think, overall. I mean, I know Corbin Burns hasn't been as good recently, but if you're getting up front as good of a guy as Corbin Burns, throughout the season, you got to give up something. And Joey Ortiz was really good, and he definitely deserved a shot. He wasn't going to get that in Baltimore, so shipped him out to Milwaukee, and he's been great. He's been great at third base, and looks like he's going to be taking over the shortstop job for Willy Adames, because Willy Adames will probably be on his way out for a large payday that the Brewers will most likely not pay, unfortunately. But yeah, Joey Ortiz is really good, but Jackson Chourio is really the go-to pick here. I mean, he's just so dynamic in how he plays the game. He's a 5-tool caliber player, and he's definitely shown that here in the second half. And he got that pre-debut extension, so got him onto the opening day roster. He's going to be in Milwaukee for a long time, and I think they locked up a great guy. He's just so exciting with what he can do. Like I said, 5 tools. He can kind of do a little bit of everything, and that's why you get excited. So I think Jackson Chourio in the second half here has done enough to put himself, at the top of the Rookie of the Year conversation.
I went with Jody Monaga. I think, he's 31-year-old. He's coming in. He's been great. He made the All-Star team. He's just been a very good pitcher for this Cubs team that's, in the conversation to make a playoffs maybe. So I think he's been a solid piece of them. I know Jack Trio's been also very good, but I got to give it to Schultz on this one.
I mean, I would say that it's tough with pitchers because hitters are going to supersede pitchers most of the time. But that's still a good pick. Managa's been very good. For my number 2, this is where it gets interesting because we all know who the 1 and 2 are, but we may not know what order they go in just yet. For me, I went with Paul Skeens as my number 2. I feel like this is very similar to the Strider-Harris conversation between Skeens and the number 1, except these two aren't on the same team, intense. But, Paul Skeens is insane. I mean, he's the most talented pitcher in the game, I think, for sure. But I don't know what it's going to look like for him with the innings cap. And I think also for my guy, number 1, his team's probably going to make the playoffs, which is going to help his case. And the Pirates are not in a position to make the playoffs. So as incredible as Paul Skeens is, and we can just marvel and drool every time he takes the mound with how good he is and how good the stuff plays, he's unfortunately going to come in at number 2 for me.
Yeah, I went the same way with this. I know it's tough. He started the All-Star game, which is crazy as a rookie to do that. But he's been dominant. He's in a couple of years, and maybe next year, I think we definitely talk about him in the Cy Young for sure. And he's that talented. He's electric kind of player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all know who number 1 is. I think we probably should have the same person.
Yeah,
I
think so.
Wrong. Who do you have?
Yeah, before I say my number 1, you definitely make a great point. How in 1 to 3 years we could be talking about Paul Skeens as the Cy Young favorite. That's just how good he is. But for the Rookie of the Year, I had Jackson Merrill of the San Diego Padres. This guy made quite a leap. He went from Double-A to the big leagues, and in spring training, he was thrown out in center field, a position that he had barely played, which is pretty remarkable that he's been able to acclimate and get comfortable out there as well as he has. And he's really been a great bat for the Padres. He's got that clutch factor as well. He's got some great numbers in clutch situations, and Jackson Merrill he's been amazing. And shout out to him, Maryland native, drafted out of Sabrina Park High School, which is in Maryland. So, Maryland love always every day. So Jackson Merrill, I think, is clear cut, or not clear cut, but I think he gets the edge on the rookie year for me.
Yeah, I went the same one here. I think, he's been really good at the plate and playing good defense. I think he just does everything. Paul Skeens, solid number two, but I think Jackson Merrill's just good. He's going to take it here for this. He's going to be a great player down the road for this Padres team. Really a guy that they kind of needed it. They were struggling last year. Now it looks like they might make the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. And now we move on to manager of the year. Why don't you get us started for that?
Yeah. So at number 3, I had Dave Roberts of the Dodgers. I just feel like, this kind of is a super team, and you can kind of throw anyone out there and they could win a bunch of games. But you got to give some respect. If the team's in first place, that you deserve something. You should be in the conversation. I'm not sure. I don't think you should win it, but you should be up there.
Yeah, I thought about Dave Roberts, but for kind of some of the reasons you listed, he's got an all-star team in front of him. So, how much credit can you really give to the manager? Although Dave Roberts is a very solid manager, I don't want to get that twisted. It's just that he's had a great team handed to him. So, while he is a great candidate and he probably will finish top 3, I did not go with him in my top 3 personally. I went more of like circumstance for some of my picks, but for my number 3 manager of the year, I went with Carlos Mendoza of the New York Mets. I think, the Mets coming into 2024, they were kind of saying that this is a bridge year. They're going to try and figure out who the pieces are moving forward, and maybe not look to compete as much. But here they are. They're above 500. They're in the wild card picture, and that's. I feel some of that has to be on Carlos Mendoza. They've had some energy, they've had some life, and this Mets team has been more fun than I think they expected, and they're kind of hanging around here. So I think on that alone, you got to give Carlos Mendoza some credit on creating a winning culture here, or creating I shouldn't say winning, but creating a positive culture. For for a year that didn't have that many expectations for the Mets, they've been a solid club, and I think Carlos Mendoza deserves some credit for that.
So my number 2, I had Mike Schultz.
Mike Schilt.
Right.
Yeah.
The San Diego Padres. He came in new manager this year, and I think he's done a good job. I mean, this team is now a wild card team. They weren't last year. They kind of brought it back. They lost Juan Soto, but they're doing all right. They're gonna make the playoffs. I think you got to give credit to that. I think he's done a great job.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I didn't think about Mike Schilt, but he has done a fantastic job to your credit. My number 2, I had Torey Lovullo of the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks did not come out of the gates hot in the beginning of the year. A guy like Corbin Carroll was really struggling, but the fact that they didn't give up on themselves after making the World Series, and they've had an incredible second half here, and they've just been hitting the crap out of the ball. I mean, Torey Lovullo he did well last year. He was able to kind of be a man for the players, and he did a solid job, I would say. And the fact that he kind of kept his team together, and they didn't quit, they didn't give up, and I think Torey Lovullo deserves some credit for that. And here he is, probably leading his team to another playoff berth, second one in 2 years. So shout out to Torey Lovullo, who's my runner-up.
And for my winner, I went with Pat Murphy of the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, there was a lot of questions going into the season about the NL Central. We kind of thought National League is going to be dominated by the East and the West, and Central. It was really anybody's race, and I think the Milwaukee Brewers have really done a good job. I mean, they lost Corbin Burns, and they're still somehow winning. They have 80 wins right now. I mean, it's kind of incredible what they've been able to do. I think it's because of him. He's led this team to success. You know, they're going to win this division pretty handily. It's not even close right now. So I just think, yeah, he's done a great job. He's no one kind of threat these other Brewers. I think I picked him for like last in the division, but you know they proved me wrong.
Yeah, I had the same guy. I had Pat Murphy. Um, Pat Murphy's just done a great job. He was following. He kind of had some big shoes to fill. Craig Counsell left for the Chicago Cubs, and I know Brewers fans didn't like that, but Pat Murphy came in. Like you said, they had a lot of questions. People were doubting them. They lost Corbin Burns, like you said as well, and a lot of people picked them to finish at the bottom of the division, fourth or fifth. Just a lot of doubters, I think, in the Brewers' corner, and Pat Murphy has really done a great job here. I mean, his offense has been prolific all year. A lot of great hitters. Unfortunately, Yelich just went down, which is a shame because he's performing really well. But they've still had a very solid lineup throughout most of this season. And while the pitching staff isn't spectacular, the pen is amazing, and the starting rotation is really kind of where it gets shaky. But they've managed to kind of get through it, and they look like they're on their way to a division crown. So I think you definitely have to give Pat Murphy some credit for what he's done here and kind of guiding this Brewers team to their second consecutive division crown. So yeah, I think Pat Murphy easily manager of the year. Now we'll get into the uniforms. I'll get it started. I went in alphabetical order. Did you go in alphabetical order?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay, so I'll get it started with the Diamondbacks. For the Diamondbacks, I kind of went with the pairing of the purple jersey and the black jersey from 1999. It's kind of the same idea, I would say. So that's kind of why I went with both a little bit. I'd probably lean the purple, but I think that tandem is really nice. I mean, those. The more time has gone on, the more I've grown to appreciate the old school Diamondbacks jerseys, just with the purple and the teal and all that good stuff. I mean, it makes you think of some good days with Randy Johnson. Those are really nice, and they do have a throwback, I believe, a current throwback. So, those jerseys are certainly amazing.
Yeah, for the Diamondbacks, I also picked an alternate from 1998, but I picked the one with the white one, the purple sleeves. I think that one's incredible. It's got the pinstripes. I think the other two, they're good, but it's just a little too much purple, and like the numbers are blue for me, so it's kind of hard to see. I think the blacks are very strong, number two. But I really like this white one with the purple. I don't know why they went to red. This purple was great. Not a lot of teams do it, and I think Diamondbacks had something there.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And then for the Atlanta Braves, I went with I couldn't find the right name. I think it's I don't know if it's a throwback, but they're called like the Cooperstown jersey. It's the one where it's got like the blue sleeves and the white jerseys, and it's got like I don't know how to describe it. I think it's called like the Cooperstown jersey. I
Okay.
couldn't find it on the site that we used.
Yeah. No, that's a great jersey. That inspired the City Connects. You look at the City Connects now. Those kind of were the modern version of those. Those are fantastic. I kind of agree with you. But I couldn't find it, like I said, on the site you used or we used. So I went with the 1966 and 1967 home jerseys for the Braves. Kind of reminded me of Hank Aaron. That was a nice feeling. He's in my opinion the true home run king. So shout out to Hank Aaron. I think those jerseys are just nice. The Braves had a nice little classy home jersey, but yeah, the ones with the blue sleeves, it's hard to beat those. Those are really good. Now move on to the Cubs. I mean, not a lot of different with Cubs. I just went with the home jersey. I mean, it's kind of been a little bit tweaked, I would say, with the accent and a little bit of the design, but it's really been the same throughout their time as a franchise. Cubs pinstripes are they're classic, Chicago C and Cubs. It's just kind of what we think of today, and it's what we see today. So Cubs have some really iconic jerseys, and I just went with their classic home. It's just really nice.
I went the same one. Cubs are one of those teams, kind of like the Red Sox and the Yankees, where they don't really mix it up a lot.
Yeah.
So you can't pick anything else than their home jersey. It is kind of iconic. It's a historic jersey. Really no other choice there. Now I move on to the Reds. I went with the alternate 2000-2003.
Mm.
I said it last week. I really like the ones where it's got like gold sleeves. So it's got the right red sleeves and the pinstripes. I like the hat though. I like the black brim. I think that's a good contrast. They're just all red. I think I think the Reds people kind of sleep in the Reds. I think the Reds kind of have some nice jerseys. I like when they mix in the black a little bit, but I also like the pinstripes are nice. When they used to wear those, I think there's a lot of good ones here. So I went with the 2003.
I also went with the 2003, except I went with the home jersey for the Reds. I'm quickly pulling up a picture of my computer. That makes me think of Griffey. When he spent a little bit of time with the Cincinnati Reds. Those are just, I like the black touch of it. I thought that was pretty cool. So those are some nice jerseys. I believe it has the black sleeves, which looks pretty sick. So yeah, that's what I had for the Reds. For the Rockies, I had the black jerseys, 2005 to 2018. It's kind of like the vest look. I didn't go with the ones with purple sleeves. I just went straight black. I kind of think the vest is a little bit cool. I'm not gonna lie. I know some people don't like that, but I thought it was nice for the Rockies, and they pulled it off pretty well. They've had some good alternates, but I think the vest look is pretty iconic for Colorado.
Yeah, I also went the vest one, but with the purple sleeves
Okay,
because I think
it's fair.
I think they got to use purple more. They don't really use it. No one really uses an MLB. I think it's a slept-on color, and I like what they did with this one. I wish they wore it again. I think the sleeves is a good look. I don't know why people hate on it.
Yeah.
It's a good one. And then for the Dodgers, kind of another team that doesn't really mix it up a lot. They kind of stick with. I went with the alternate 1999 jersey. It's okay. There's not a lot of options here. Like I said, they don't really mix it up. Actually, I'm an audible. I'm just gonna go with the home jersey.
Yeah.
I think that it's another classic jersey. I think it's like I said, classic.
Yep, I totally agree. Home Dodgers home is just classic. I mean, it's withstood the test of time pretty well, and the Dodgers certainly know how to do it with jerseys. They haven't really had to change it, and it's just a nice look. Dodger blue is pretty iconic. Now we go to the Marlins. This is a franchise that's gone through a lot of rebrands. I love their jerseys now. Loved them when they came out. But I did go to the old school, and I kind of missed the ones that they had in like the 2010s, because I do remember those kind of when I was younger. For the Marlins, I had the 90s and 2000s home pinstripe. So like, I on the site that we use, they have the one with the teal hat and the black hat. I didn't really care. I thought both looked great. But yeah, I think those are nice. It's a nice Miami Marlin, you know, ocean feel. Um, and they do currently have a throwback that is that jersey. So that jersey was doing something right, and those some good memories of the early Marlins. Miguel Cabrera winning some World Series, all that good stuff. So I think the Marlins first jerseys were really nice.
So I don't know if this is a hot take, but I did go with the ones from the 2010s. I went with the alternate from 2012, 2018. It just kind of reminds you of MVP John Carlos Stanton.
Mike
I remember
Stanton.
that. Yeah, I just think he was. It's a good one. I think it's the black one. It's got the Miami on it. It's the orange.
Yeah.
I think it's a good jersey. I know it might be hated on a little bit, but and older ones are definitely good. I just think I like these ones better. They kind of remind me more of the Marlins. So I don't really remember the other ones. So that's the ones I went with. I think it was Marlins kind of the first rebrand that I can remember. So I think to remember like the past jerseys, I think it's something important.
You know what? I respect your pick. It's a good pick. I can understand where you're coming from. Those are some good days. We kind of remember those from when we were a lot younger, watching the game. And I have a set of pennants on my wall that has that logo, which is, I kind of miss it. So,
Yeah, it's ugly, but it looks good at the same time.
yeah, that's kind of a good way to put it in a way. Now are you gonna go the Brewers?
Yes, I have the
Okay.
Brewers now. I
Mhm.
went with the road jerseys from 1974 to 1977. I think I like the baby blue. I like the touch of yellow. Kind of looks like Michigan on the hat, but forget that.
I
Um,
think it's Wisconsin.
I know, but I'm saying that the hat kind of looks like the Michigan football logo.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, I think it's a good jersey. I like all about it. I think the Brewers have always done a good job, besides maybe the one 2000s. Those weren't so good in the
Oh
90s.
yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I think before that and after that, we're good.
Yeah, you're talking about the jersey with the 2 panel, yellow on the
Mm,
front, and then the rest of it's blue.
no.
Or you're talking about the one that's all blue, yellow, and
It's it's got the yellow hat. It's the Road 1974, 1977.
94.
74, I mean.
Oh, 74. Okay, yeah. That looks like Michigan. The Brewers, I just went with the 70s to 80s powder blue. I mean, those are just really nice. I know that they're a little bit different. One says Milwaukee, one says Brewers, but the point is, like, the powder blue for the Brewers just looked great back in the day. So you're thinking of Paul Molly, you're thinking of Robin Yount. Obviously, our parents can talk about that, but um, that those are some nice Brewers jerseys for sure. The Mets. Ooh, the Mets. The Mets had a good one for me. They brought it back. They did make a small tweak currently, but I went with the home black jersey from the 90s. I mean, the Mets black is just, it's so good. I don't know how you don't think it's good. It's just looks fantastic. You're thinking of some Mike Piazza vibes. It's just good stuff. I mean, the Mets black is just, it just makes you melt a little bit. It just looks fantastic. The current ones that they made the small tweak to, not as good, but they're still solid. You're thinking of the white outline. So yeah.
I also went with the Mets black. I feel like that's a kind of team. Another team doesn't really mix it up, but when they bring out those black ones, that's where it gets real. Those ones are nice. They always have been. Yeah, like you said, they brought them back. They're not as good, but still good.
Yeah.
I think you can. It's hard to mess up the Mets black, and it's always a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so now for the Phillies, I went with the powder blue ones from 1984, 1986, the road ones.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it kind of stands out. The Phillies jerseys. I know they've worn it a couple times in past few years. It's the powder blue with the kind of, I don't know, if it's maroon or something. But yeah, I think it's a interesting jersey. It's kind of out of their style, but I like it.
I had the same exact one. The powder blue, the Philly powder blue is just, it's borderline incredible. I mean, it's just so good. I actually bought it when I went to Citizens Bank Park. I bought a shirt with that design. I mean, it's just so good. That P is picture perfect. 80s Phillies had some good teams. And those jerseys are really clean. And another jersey that's been brought back to the 2010s, 2020s. So again, must have been doing something right. And shout out 80s Phillies, lost to the Orioles in '83. Just want to put that in there. So wait, did you? Okay, I think I'm going to the Pirates, right?
Yep.
Okay, so for Pittsburgh, I went with the 2000 alternate jersey black. Kind of I mean, Pirates have had an interesting jersey history. I would say they have some red jerseys that don't look that great, but it's okay. They've had some nice ones in the past, but yeah, I went with the 2000 alternate black. I think that one looks really good. The yellow works off of it really well, and the hat's a little interesting with the red brim. I don't know why the Pirates are using red that much, but it's okay, and it looks clean overall. So that's what I went with for my pick.
I went with the same ones here. I think it's a nice look, the all black, and it's kind of different from nowadays. The Pirates logo is different. I like the little hint of red. Doesn't
Okay.
make any sense really, but I kind of like it. Um, and then looking, if you see like the 1999 Ultimate jersey, with all red, like you're saying, that's a little scary what they're
Yeah, it's
trying to do
bad.
there
Yeah.
with the pirate on the front and the
Hmm.
vertical name. I don't know if you haven't seen them, look them up. They're a weird one.
I'll try and
They're like
link it in the description.
yeah, you can look the website.
Yeah,
1999 alternate jersey for Pirates.
it's bad.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah, the
And then
face doesn't make any sense.
for the Padres,
San Diego.
I went with the road jerseys from 1980, 1984. Kind of the brown ones with the lowercase Padres across the front. I think it's a good look.
Mm.
I like those ones we wore 'em. I remember wearing when they kind of wore a similar variant in the 2016 All Star game. So I remember those when I used to play on the show 16, seeing those jerseys. Those would look good. Uh, so that was kind of what I thought when I picked them. I think they brought back the brown and yellow in 2020. I think that was a very good move by them.
Yep.
To abandon the navy blue because brown and yellow is a very good look for them.
I agree. The brown and yellow was really nice back in the 80s, but I did not pick that because I think the ones currently are so much better than those. So for my pick, I went with the late 80s, early 90s when they had the kind of the navy blue and orange. I could understand where people don't like it as much, but I think it looks really good. It has a little bit of pinstripes, and it's just I don't know. I mean, the the golden brown is still nice, and they made a good decision going to that in 2020, like you said. But I don't know. The the 90s, 2000s, Padres with the orange and the navy blue, it kind of looks good in a way. So that's gonna be my sneaky pick. Now I go to the Giants. Giants are kind of interesting because again they've kind of had the same look, but at the same time it's still changed. So that's what makes it, kind of interesting. I went with the 1983 to 1993 home jersey. I like the font for the Giants going across it. I think that looks cool. You're kind of thinking of a little bit of Jeff Kent vibes, which is pretty cool. He's a good ball player back in his day. So yeah, I think those look pretty cool. It's a little different from the Giants, normal font, but I don't know. I like it better personally.
I can feel that. I went with the alternates from 2001 to 2002 with the white pants. I think the all black's a good look. It maybe a little hard to see the Giants logo, but I kind of like that. It's a little scary.
Hmm.
Menacing. I think it's a strong look for the Giants. And then for teams we have next, we have the Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Cardinals have always had good jerseys.
Yep.
Let me just load here. I went with the 1957 to 1963. Those are the home jerseys. Yeah. So those are the ones It's very similar to the ones they have now, but I like the navy blue hat. I think that's a big difference. I think maybe a little too much red with all the red hat, but I like the navy blue hat. When they put that in there, I think it's a good move by them. It's just still all the color jerseys are always good. I like like I said, navy blue hat is a game changer.
That is a nice jersey for sure. Kind of giving the Stan Musial vibes. And he was obviously one of the greats. For the Cardinals, I looked at the word mark on the website, which you'll see if you click the link in the description if I can remember to put it there. I went the 1976 to 1984 powder blues. I mean, the powder blue is it's arguably perfect for the Cardinals. It looks so good. I'm remembering Ozzie Smith doing the backflip at shortstop. I mean, it's the vibes are immaculate and it looks immaculate. I mean, they're doing it right with that one, and the powder blue is off the charts good for the Cardinals. But I don't hate your pick. You got a good. I liked your pick as well. I think I thought about that one when I was looking at the jersey. So for the Nationals, when I initially did mine, I forgot about the Expos. That technically the Expos are the Nationals. So I did both. I did the Nationals and the Expos. Because we do want to respect the Nationals and their history itself, but you also can incorporate Montreal into that. For the Nationals, I went kind of with a two-way. I had a two-way tie. I had the 2005 home jersey as one of them. I think that's, I mean, it's their first jersey, so that's could be part of it. But I mean that's really nice. That gives me some old school vibes. I've seen the Nationals wear those in like throwback games on Masson sometimes. The RFK vibes are right there. That's really cool for me personally because I can appreciate the Nationals a little bit more considering I'm pretty much right in DC. And then I also went with the 2011 to 2019 navy blue. It had the pinstripes going or the stripe down the middle, and then the W with the flag in it, the American flag. I can remember those pretty vividly. Giving me some Bryce Harper, Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg vibes. Those were some good days for the Nationals. They had some really good teams during that time, and I think that jersey's really nice. And then I'll quickly do my Expos one before I turn it over to you. I think the Expos powder blue 80 to 91 is a really nice jersey. I mean, that's so good. Shout out to the Expos. That too bad they're not around still, but they've had some beauties in their team's history. And the 80 to 91 kind of powder blue is really good. And just a thought, think about what the 1994 Expos, I believe, when it was a player strike, think what could have been for the Expos because that team was stacked, could have won the World Series that year, but unfortunately they did not get the chance.
Yeah, I didn't pick a Nationals jersey. I went with just the Expos because I think they're the same franchise pretty much. And I went with the 1980 to 1991 road jerseys, baby blue. Any of the baby blue Expo jerseys are good. They're all the same pretty much, but I like the ones with that kind of the red stripes and on the red and blue stripes on the shoulders and down the side. I think it's a clean look. I think none of the teams that had baby blue jerseys do that. It's something just kind of different Expos did. So I think these are really good jerseys. It's a shame that they don't wear them anymore because teams doesn't exist, but they were doing something here. Yeah, baby Expos are iconic pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what we got. Those are our lists. Those are our award picks for now. And that completes the two-part series. We'll be coming into with a brand new concept next week. So that'll do it for this episode. Brennan, as always, any last thoughts before we head out?
It's a fun little series to do, 2-episode series. I think we're kind of getting towards the end of baseball. Maybe get some playoff action in soon. So that's fun. Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah, nice little 2-part series. Which league would you say was better for the retro jerseys, American or National?
I'm gonna give it to the American here. I think there's a lot of teams in the National League. I know
Okay.
an American League team they have some teams that don't want to mix it up. I know the Boston Red Sox and Yankees, but I think the National League has a lot of teams that don't really mix up their jerseys a lot.
I would give it to the National League personally, but it's just fun to reminisce and think about the 80s, 90s, and before that. If you're even older. So that'll do it for this episode. As always, everything you need is in the description. Merchandise, social medias, and I'll try and remember to link the website that we use. So if you want the visual of the jerseys, you can follow along if our description wasn't good enough. So you can go check that out if you would like. And with that, we will see you next time.